Shalom, shalom. I'm going to start by giving infinite honors and praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Harachak Wadash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and are worthy of their double honors. Peace and blessings to you, Akim, pushing out this truth across the four corners during these last sections of time. Kwam Yasha'Allah, Shalom. And this lesson is entitled, That Merchant City Will Soon Cease to Exist. 2025. That merchant city will soon cease to exist. 2025. Lord willing, this message is edifying. And this is an article from the Newsbreak app entitled Foreign Policy. China halts exporting critical minerals to U.S. that power EVs, missiles, and robots. All right. And that merchant city, which is America, all right, which the scriptures likens on to Babylon the Great, all right, spiritual Sodom, spiritual Egypt, Rome all over again, okay. That great merchant city will soon reach its end. A great collapse is coming in. The increase in tariffs and taxing on goods going in and out of this country is going to be one of the main reasons. So this article has some information in it, Lord willing, to be edifying. All right. It says China will pause exports of critical minerals to the U.S. Critical minerals to the U.S. in the country's latest move to counteract the president's tariffs. The president has set a tariff on China at a hefty 145%, which it has responded to with a 125% reciprocal tariff. So the president has sanctioned China with 145% on goods coming in to this country, all right? And China has ultimately responded with their own 125% reciprocal tariff, okay? Now I have this photo here, was just as a little statistics on it. According to current data, the U.S. is considered the country with the most imports globally. Now that fluctuates here and there, but the United States, according to the scriptures, is known as that great merchant city, all right, that had the earth in its grips via these different imports, exports, all right, whether it be by sea, whether it be by air, all right, whether it be by train, however it may be, okay. The U.S., as it says here, is considered the country with the most imports globally, while China holds the top spot for the most exports globally, meaning the U.S. imports the most goods, all right? Imports meaning what? The most goods come in to the country from different parts of the world, the earth, while China exports the most goods, meaning those goods are going out of China into different parts of the world, which we see that here in America, all right? Different clothing, products, items. What's the main thing that they have on them listed? Made in such and such, made in this place, made in that place, all right? Made in India, made in China. The most ones you see, all right, are made in China because that's one of the United States' top trade partners. All right, to get those imports, get those goods in here, because the U.S. is likened to a big melting pot. All right, like the scriptures say, Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. I'll get that real quick. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 7. Babylon, and this is talking about America, identifying America in the Bible. Babylon, America, had been a golden cup in the Lord Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. And how has America done that? As it says here, according to current data, the U.S. is considered the country with the most imports globally. And this is one of the reasons. While China holds the top spot for the most exports worldwide, meaning the U.S. imports the most goods, while China exports the most goods. And America has laid in bed with these different foreign nations with its policies, all right, with its trade agreements. And these different nations have taken on America's umbrella of democracy, all right? Its wines, its ideologies, its doctrines. And these nations, they've sobered up from that wine, and now they're backing out of these different policies with America. They're sanctioning America 125%, all right? It says that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunk enough her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And they're backing out of these treaties that they have with America, these treaties on these imports coming in here, and they're taxing them now because America is roused up, all right? And the Lord has his spirit, like scriptures say, Proverbs 21:1, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. The Lord has his spirit on the king's heart to raise him up and deal with these other nations, okay, in a burning bridges type of fashion, okay? Cutting ties type of fashions. And guess what? These other nations, they're mad. They're cutting ties with America. You got the BRICS nations. They're dealing with America from afar and adopting their own currency, and a host of other nations, man. Okay, and you got America's allies that are even going to depart from her, okay, and shoot arrows here, ICBM nuclear missiles. It says, verse 8, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. And the Lord is being sarcastic. If so she may be healed. Take balm for her, all right? She's fallen and destroyed, and that's what's happening to America. It says the U.S. granted tariff exemptions on laptops, smartphones, and other items. China called on the U.S. to completely cancel its tariffs, saying that the exemptions were a small step toward doing so. So they were asking America to completely do away with it, okay? Like, hey, just chill off the tariffs. Back off it. But America is being crafty and saying, well, we're gonna not tax this, but we'll tax that. Or we're gonna tax this now, or not tax this now, but tax it later. Okay? That's why the scriptures say, never trust thine enemy. All right? This is Sirach 12:10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. That's right. It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass. And thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. And we see Esau clearly through the scriptures. All right. He's, according to Revelation 12:12, coming down with great wrath because he knew he had but a short time left. Okay. And his decisions are reflective of that. He's cutting ties with nations that he was once joined with. He's overly increasing tariffs on nations to enforce a strength that is no longer there. And we're seeing the effect of that on the earth. And these other nations, they're not backing down. They're ready for whatever. So it says, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped the looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been together wiped away. All right? And we know that because he has an agenda, which is the NWO, Revelation 13:16. All right? A cashless society, a digital society. All right? So he's not going to stop until he fulfills that enterprise in the earth, and that's what all his decisions are tailored to. Jeremiah 51:9, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. You see? And that brings me to Revelation 18, because it said her judgment are reached unto the heavens because of the sins of this society, man. All right? And its wickedness have reached onto the heavens, man. The heavens and the angels that are in the spiritual world, they've heard about this wicked society, and they're set to destroy it on the behalf of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. That's why you got the Lord of hosts that are going to make a speedy riddance of the earth's militaries, man. In the third world's war, it says, Revelation 18:1, and after these things I saw another angel coming down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and this is talking about America, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And this is a prophecy that's not yet taken place yet, all right? Because when Babylon the great America becomes the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful birds, the nuclear missiles would have been done hit this place. That's going to be an effect of the after effect of this place being hit by thermonuclear heat, man. All right. But we're leading up and building up to that in prophecy. You're seeing the economy being shot, the government, the politics, the education, the religious system. Everything is going out the window. From afar, these different nations are going at it. America is going at China. America is going at Russia. All right. At Iran, they're burning bridges with all the nations that they had treaties with, man. Okay. So what is going to be the ending result of that when someone doesn't know who their enemies is? All right. In the movies we watch in this society, the relationships that we see that are severed that we know of, when someone makes enemies with everyone and can't tell who their enemy is, that person is a ticking time bomb for their demise. So it says, and that's likened unto the society, Revelation 18:2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen and become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And this is going to be, as we said, a result of that nuclear fire. This is Isaiah 13:20, and this is talking about America. Isaiah 13:19, and Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when our power overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. And how did Yahweh Bashim Yahushai overthrow Sodom and Gomorrah? By fire and brimstone. Okay, and that same fire and brimstone is going to come back in the form of, in the form of ICBM nuclear missiles. Okay, that's how it's going to come back. Like it says in Isaiah 9:5, I'll just get it real quick. Isaiah 9:5, for every battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. And that's that third world's war. It shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So back in Isaiah 13:20, it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures. And owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And that's going to be a result of that thermonuclear heat. Those ICBM nuclear missiles that are going to be shot from the ends of the world, like it says in 2nd Esdras. Okay, that's going to be a result of it. All right, and we're building up to that. So back in Revelation chapter 18, verse 3, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, which is America, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundancies of her delicacies. And we're seeing that. And we've seen that throughout the process of time. China has waxed rich through the abundances of her delicacies with America. Okay, it says, however, the administration said the new exemptions are a building block toward future tariffs. So what the president is doing is he's saying they're high-tech products exempt from the reciprocal tariffs, but they're included in the semiconductor tariffs, which are coming in probably a month or two. And that's what we were saying earlier, basically explaining that. All right, they're using that gradualism to destroy the society. Okay, they're saying, oh, well, we're going to do this today and then this month or two down the line. All right, so they're massaging that inflation into this society, and then they're going to have that solution, which is a makeshift solution, which is that charagma, Revelation 13:16. All right, they're going to set the house on fire, then come through the back door. All right, like they're trying to save it. So it says, let's see if there's some more in here, just going into it. All right. It says the Chinese exports bans apply to every country, not just the U.S., limiting other countries in the scope of what they can produce. This could ratchet up the pressure on the U.S. to talk China off the ledge concerning the mineral bans. All right. And just the fact that they have bans also on other countries throughout the U.S. also fulfills prophecies, because these heathens are raging all right, throughout the earth, and they're imagining that they're going to rule. They're imagining that, all right, their policies and their system is going to be numero uno in the earth, all right? So they're doing what's best, okay, to keep their society flowing in the hopes of that, hey, they're going to have the Israelites in subjection and slavery again. But the scriptures say, he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, because the Lord is taking this merchant city down, and it's soon going to cease to exist. So it says, verse 3, for all nations have drunk of the wine of her wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And we showed that little statistic showing that the U.S., all right, is considered the country with the most imports, and China with the most exports. And America has different treaties with many and plenty countries, all right, establishing their agreements throughout the earth, all right, through trade, okay? So it says, Revelation 18:4, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. And that's talking about America. The Lord is spiritually taking us out of this place, and we're going to be called out of these places on what the word ignorantly calls UFOs, man, which are chariots of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. It says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and our power hath remembered her sins, her iniquity, Salakia. And that's talking about America, like you read in Jeremiah, all right? Her sins have reached unto the heavens, man, and her judgment have reached unto the sky. And guess what? Henceforth will the Lord bring her down. So it says, verse 6, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. And the cup which she had filled to her double. How much she had glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she has said in her heart, I sit a queen, and I am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord our power who judgeth her. You see, so the Lord is going to burn this place down with fire. But first, right now, it's being burned down with economic woes, all right? Systematic woes and destructions, political woes, uproars of the people, civil unrest, inflation, the full storehouse being empty suddenly, man. The Lord is taking this place down, just how Esau Edom is trying to use gradualism to try to usher in his system. All right, Revelation 13:16, the Charagma. The Lord is gradually destroying Babylon the Great, man, this merchant city, all right, that is waxed rich through the abundances of her delicacies. So, Lord willing, this message was edifying. I'm going to give infinite honors and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harachak Wadash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to you, Aki, and pushing out this truth across the four corners during these last seconds of time. Kwam Yashala, Shalom.